Pearl Yachts was founded in 1998 in the UK, building motor yachts first there, but later, as their boats got larger, in the Far East. There it's been building world-class motor yachts for the last 20 years. For all of that time, Pearl has had the same British design and management team and its creations, taking its rightful place among the world's most respected motor yacht builders. Pearl Yachts calls itself a boutique builder because it only produces from 16 to 18 yachts a year, in just 4 models ranging from 62 to 95 feet. By limiting its offering and unit production, Pearl is able to lavish its best efforts on every vessel. It's also important to give credit to naval architect Bill Dixon for creating the yacht's overall design, styling, and efficiency.
Focusing exclusively on flybridges really sets Pearl apart. In terms of design, it means we can style the exteriors without consideration for other lines, permitting a purer aesthetic. Whether the owner chooses the standard MAN V12s or the optional MTU 1600 horsepower, the hull architecture ensures a smooth, efficient cruise and easy handling.
I'm supposed to stay neutral about the boats that I test, but with this one, all bets are off. I was so impressed with it when I did the walkthrough, but then after I drove it in 3 to 5 occasional 6-foot seas, it was just unbelievable. It was handling so well, no pounding, dry ride. I was doing 30 plus knots in those conditions. It's just remarkable. Pearl set out to make a yacht that had the characteristics of its larger model, but in a smaller, more manageable and owner-operated version. The result is this all-new Pearl 72.
Let's start our tour by looking at our entertainment features. The aft deck has an 8-foot 5-inch wide transom settee with 2 electrically actuated high-low tables that fold out to make one long dining table fit for King Henry VIII. The foredeck is an entertainment area as large as anything we've seen in class, with a forward bench seat 9 feet 2 inches wide with an electrically actuated high-low table that folds out that will easily seat a dozen people for cocktails. With the table down, a filler cushion turns the whole area into a sun pad with chaise lounges.
One more exterior gathering area to do, and that's up in the flybridge. Let's take a look. Now there are several gathering areas in this elevated space. First of all, we'll start at the stern, where we have 2 corner-mounted chairs, table, and a lounge just ahead. Now just forward, U-shaped seating surrounding a solid wood table. This one is on fixed pedestals. Nice stainless steel inlay work, rounded edges, good workmanship here. And then over to the port hand side, sun pad. This is surrounding seating. We can bring a table up and make a comfortable dining area at this position as well. To the port hand side, there's a wet bar. Now all of this is under the protection of this impressive hardtop. There's a sunroof that's fabricated from metal where we usually see canvas. We can open it up into the louvered position to let air and light through, or we can open up the whole thing completely. Notice when it's in the open position, there's still an air dam up forward. For additional shade, we can bring out an extendable awning from the trailing edge of the hardtop. And then we have access to the interior through these wide sliding doors that open at the touch of a button. We can also have a sensor opening the door automatically for us as we approach. Either way, it gives us an opening 4 feet 8 inches, and that brings us to this interior. The interior is an open layout, and it's beautiful as well as functional. This is a Kelly Hoffman design, so there are no dividers separating the rooms, no bulkheads, single level, up until we get just ahead of the galley area. This whole interior can come in 3 different versions. The modern version is light woods. The luxury version, you'll have darker woods, and you can choose between a satin finish or a gloss finish. This is the new indulgence finish, and I really like the contrast between the dark and the light. Windows come down remarkably low, and we've got sight lines through the rails, so clear visibility out to the horizon. But as far as seating goes, L-shaped seating over to the port hand side. And then we've got cabinetry over to the starboard side with storage below and above.
In the aft cabinet is the electrical control panel for the boat, which is handy when entering or leaving her.
This is a 50-inch TV, and I like that this design style has the TV exposed rather than having it come up on electric lift. Those are kind of done to death.
And that is one of the hallmarks of Kelly Hoppen, a London-based interior designer who brings a fresh approach to yacht decor. She's a designer for the rich and famous, so let's hear from her.
So the studio is in London. We have an extraordinary team of people here that work on all the drawings, the architecture, the design, the FF&E, everything down to the last detail. We're an extraordinary team. They are the people that make the business work, because with every single project that we work on, there are so many facets and layers that we have to get documented, costed up, drawn up, and every single project changes from the first moment you start it to the actual implementation of the project. And it's all of those layers that you go through with the client and involve the client as much as they want to be involved in it. And that's what creates the excitement and the magic at the end.
Now I'd like to point out a few more details of Kelly's design. Overhead, there's a recessed rectangular soffit with indirect lighting and a mirror which will reflect light and add a bit of drama to the space. Notice that the air conditioning vents are all hidden, and on the outboard sides of the overhead are individual spotlights adding to the spectacle of this modernistic salon. Aft and to port is a nook with what appears to be an alabaster stand lighted inside to accent objects of art. Below the TV is what reminds me of a stone hearth, but here it's used to open up space by eliminating the typical credenza that we often see here.
Forward and to starboard is the galley that consists of solid surface counters. There's a single basin stainless steel sink, and notice that the edges of it are beveled to accommodate this cutting surface quite nicely. I usually see those being just flat and hard to work with, but this one, nice finger grabs, fits into position nicely. It's another thoughtful touch from Pearl. Solid surface counter, both a low and a high position. The galley is mostly about storage rather than refrigeration. That's located to the opposite side. We'll get to that in just a moment. But plenty of storage down below, in addition to a dishwasher, convection microwave, induction cooktop with the extraction fan right in the center. Nice touch there. In the corner, take a look at this. There's an inductive charger with pop-up USB and electrical plugs. Just alongside that, a wine chiller located in the counter. At 9 feet 5 inches by 14 inches, this upper counter area makes an excellent buffet serving spot. 3 stools also make it a convenient little breakfast area.
When entertaining, it will serve triple duty as a convivial bar.
And here's the refrigerator that I was referring to earlier. Pull-out pantry is just ahead. Now just across and up a 9-inch step, we come to the dining area where we have sorters for the stemware and a great location to sit and watch all the action around with all of the windows around you.
This remarkable 2-piece compound curved windshield and overhead skylight is unlike anything that we've ever seen on a boat in this size. Not only does it provide a 180-degree view out the front of the boat, but it also brings in the sky for spectacular views at anchorage or when passing among islands. Now let's go below to the master stateroom, which has its own private stairway.
Now as we go down below to look at the accommodations, I said earlier that there were a lot of thoughtful features on this boat, and this is one of them. Simple little thing. Normally there's a rail with supports, and as you run your hand down the rail, you hit the supports all the way. But here, it's just a raised piece of wood, so it's a smooth transition all the way down, and a safe one going down the companionway to this beautiful foyer that's nicely lit. Glass on the side panels keep the light coming through, and then ahead of us, there's a whole mirrored panel with shelves. And then we go into the master stateroom.
Another one of the noteworthy features of the Pearl 72 is her creative use of space. Most traditional designed motor yachts in class put the VIP cabin in the bow with an island berth wedged into the pointy end. The problem with this is that the bed isn't necessarily high and you have to climb up one side or the other to get in. The beds are hard to make up and deck space is limited. The important thing is that Pearl's designer has been able to achieve this large bow master without having to resort to a plumb bow design.
I like the idea of moving it to this end of the boat because it's away from the engine compartment, the machinery spaces. Not that that's loud, but it's much quieter up here. Still full beam, having it all the way forward. As we move forward to where the bow comes together, we've got 2 seating areas around 76 by 68 inch berth. There's storage underneath and to the sides. There's storage to both sides coming to this forward point. Little vanity area over to the starboard side. Hull side windows provide plenty of natural light. There's opening port lights giving ventilation, and we've got additional lighting up above. Fully forward, I like the dark bulkhead with the design stylings of the shelving and lighted areas. Plus, there's a TV on an electric lift. Now, a couple of nice design features, the beautiful sconce lighting, I like the way that comes out, and the reading lights just recess into pockets, and to turn them on, just bring them on out. Of course, there are switches right alongside to both sides of the berth. And then the access to the master head is just to the starboard side. This one has a solid surface counter with the sink recessed into it. There's storage and mirrored cabinets up above. More storage below. There's also a walk-in shower. The hull side window has an opening port light adding ventilation to this area. Now, while the master gets a private entrance, the guest staterooms get an entrance just to the port hand side here. Again, thoughtful feature. This full-length banister, no supports that are going to catch your fingers.
One of the most compelling aspects of the Pearl 72 is that she's a 4-stateroom boat, the same number that we would find in the Pearl 80. This has been accomplished by a careful allocation of space. One of the things that makes this possible is putting the VIP head-on the port side of the stateroom. Another is eliminating the passageway we usually see connecting the 4 staterooms by having 2 spiral staircases below, and finally, the employment of V-drives, which moves the engines aft, in this case providing space for the crew quarters. 4 staterooms makes the 72 ideal for charter or dual ownership, with each owner getting one of the large staterooms.
The VIP stateroom, not quite full beam because we have the head over to the port hand side, but certainly roomy enough. The berth is center mounted. Some of the highlights include the desk over to the starboard side, desk/vanity, mirrored bulkhead, and the TV is recessed behind the mirror. Directly across is the guest stateroom. This one has an ensuite just ahead. Again, with the mirrored bulkhead and the TV recessed behind. And our final stateroom, this one has twin berths, hull side window, plenty of room, and a lot of the same storage features. This one also has a private ensuite, which has an additional access to the hallway, allowing it to serve as a dayhead. Crew quarters are accessed from a door to the port hand side. Let's take a look. There's a head just to the left side of the companionway, and then a small galley that includes storage, refrigeration, and a microwave. No sink. Over under berth with storage just ahead of that. Watertight door leads to the engine room.
Standard power for the 72 is a pair of 1400 horsepower MAN V12s. However, our test vessel was equipped with twin MTU V10s packing 1600 horsepower apiece. The fiberglass overhead you see in the center is the bottom of the tender garage, which can hold a Williams jet rib and a small PWC, and launch both by lowering the swim platform.
Now, the swim platform comes out 5 feet 7 inches from the transom, and of course it's full beam, hydraulically actuated so we can make a private beach. There's a flip-down bench that comes out from the transom. This is electrically actuated. There's a cushion that goes on top, but not for the back. I'd like to see that. Underneath the cushion, however, look at this. Teak. Beverage holders are in both corners. With the transom bench in the closed position, now we can open up the garage. As well as having all of this room to relax and play, we can also bring down side wings to both sides that give us even more room for enjoying this area of the boat.
The Pearl 72 has a length overall of 72 feet 2 inches, a beam of 18 feet 10 inches, and a draft of 5 feet 7 inches. With an empty weight of 110,320 pounds, 4 people, and 26% fuel on board, we had an estimated test weight of 112,860 pounds. With the twin MTU 1600 horsepower engines run up to 2450 RPM, our speed topped out at 32.5 knots. Range will increase as the throttle is reduced, so there's no best cruise per se, but at the recommended cruise speed of 80% load and 2000 RPM, the speed was 24 knots. At that speed, the 111.9 gallon per hour fuel burn worked out to be 0.2 nautical miles per gallon and a range of 216.2 nautical miles. Back her down to a displacement speed of just over 12 knots, and the range goes up to 373.4 nautical miles. All this, of course, is measured while still holding back a 10% reserve of the boat's 1,122-gallon total fuel supply.
13, 15 knots, I would come around in about 12 seconds, which is remarkable. It should have taken a lot longer than that, and it should have been a lot wider of a turning radius as well. This is just a remarkable handling boat. Even more remarkable than that is when we're handling it around the dock. Little nudge into gear, and that produces a nice response. And once you get the momentum going, all you need to do is direct that momentum, and you can come out in a very tight situation with ease. This is a beautiful owner-operator's boat.
If I had to sum up the major points of the Pearl 72, it would have to include the dual master cabins, a garage to accommodate not only a tender but a PWC as well, the addition of a beach club, and her multiple external entertaining areas, all coupled with an excellent build quality and design with exceptional performance and handling.
This was probably among the most fun tests that I've done. This boat was great to be on, great to be in, comfortable, easy to handle. It all just came together so nicely. And that's my full features inspection and performance evaluation of the Pearl 72. For BoatTEST.com, I'm Captain Steve. We'll see you on the water.